Okay, wait. Selena's dad tried to make it in music himself, then ended up just turning his kids into a band? It's kind of like Joe Jackson and Jackson 5. Only thing I guess the difference here is he wasn't like beating their ass. Alright, welcome to Tate's Take. If you're new here, I do spoiler-free movie and TV reviews. Give you a little background, basically let you know if I think it's worth checking out or not. If that's something you're into, hit that subscribe button for your boy. For my regular Tate's Takers, let's see if this is the series we've been dreaming of. Get it? Dreaming? Because it's Selena? Ugh, never mind. Selena the series is the new Netflix original two-part docu-series based, of course, on the legendary Selena Quintanilla. That was pretty good, right? Been practicing. It's a biographical drama that tells the story of her and her family working towards fame from a very young age. It was directed by Hiromi Kamada, who's from Mexico City, and has directing credits on stuff like Vantage Point and Limitless. It was written by Moises Zamora, who's also from Mexico, who's written on stuff like American Crime and Star on Fox. Selena is played by Kristen Serratos, who all my real taste takers know as Rosita from The Walking Dead. Selena's mother is played by Sadie Lopez, who, fun fact, played Deborah in the 1997 Selena movie. Her brother AB is played by Gabriel Chavarria, and her sister Suzette is played by Noemi Gonzalez. Both of them were on the Hulu show East Los High. Selena's father Abraham is played by Ricardo Chavira from Desperate Housewives. Obviously, I've never watched Desperate Housewives, but apparently he's Eva Longoria's husband. Eva Longoria just got into some hot water after her election comments, but we don't got time to get in all that scandal. Plus, she already said sorry. But you know what would be crazy? If you just don't say the stupid thing, you don't gotta say sorry. Selena's real father and sister, Abraham and Suzette, were actually executive producers of this Netflix series, so you know the family was definitely involved. Apparently there was an unauthorized version of this that was released on Telemundo not too long ago, and they were pretty pissed about that. Another cool thing about the series is that it was actually shot in Mexico with the all-Mexican crew, so shout out to y'all. Alright, plot time. Selena the series is the coming-of-age story that follows her journey from singing these small gigs in Corpus Christi with her family to becoming one of the most successful Latin artists of all time. The series starts all the way in the beginning when Selena was like a freaking 10-year-old. Her dad was also in the music business but never really made it, and then he found out that his kids had some talent. He decided to make them into a band. So you had Selena as the youngest, her older brother AB, and her older sister Suzette in this band called Southern Comfort. They started out mainly doing covers at that time, but living in Texas and being of Mexican descent, the dad realized that they're gonna have to start doing some Tejano music. What's Tejano music, you ask? Is basically a blend of Mexican, European, and American music. Only problem with doing Spanish music, Selena didn't know how to speak Spanish. So her dad had to teach her, and then also watching those novellas. But long story short, the band started doing Tejano music. Selena's band was just getting up and running in the early 80s, around the same time as one of the worst recessions in history. Actually, the highest unemployment rate since the Great Depression. You could thank Ronald Reagan for that. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not saying it's his fault. But I'm not saying it was his fault. Huh? Anyway, Selena's family had their own restaurant that they were forced to close down because of the recession. After that, they put everything they had into making this band work. Some real American dream type shit. So we see the family pick up and move in with their cousins, forcing all 5 of them to sleep in one room, just to see this dream come true, working through all the obstacles that come with it. Now we got a series. So what's my take? First, let me reiterate, this is a 2-part docu-series, and these first 9 episodes are only part 1, and I have no idea when part 2 comes out, but I know that I need it. You can tell that the main focus of this series was to show the real family bond that the Quintanillas had. Now, of course, there's no spoilers here at Tate's Take, but if you're here, I would imagine you know how the story of Selena ends. But being that this is a 2-part series, by the end of these 9 episodes, you're not even scratching the surface of all that drama. Either way, here are some of the things I liked about the series so far. First and foremost, the casting of both Selenas. I'm already obsessed with young Selena. Yeah, it's out there. I said it. She's played by Madison Taylor Baez, who hasn't really been acting, but she's been singing for a long time. But not like getting Grammys and stuff. She's been doing national anthems at sporting events and things like that. But after this, I think she's gonna get a couple more phone calls. She just seems like a super happy kid, which works perfectly for playing Selena. You just get the idea that Selena as a kid had these big dreams of being a star, but didn't mind the not so glamorous parts of working your way there. Madison plays the role as someone who was just enjoying the process and never complained about anything. Good job, kid. We need more Madisons in the world. All right, on to the main event, adult Selena. A role where people are gonna say one of 2 things. 1, you can't replace the original Selena. Duh, it's called acting. 2, you can't replace J-Lo. Okay, also duh. And by the way, back in 1997 when J-Lo got cast, the fans were actually protesting because they didn't think a Puerto Rican could play a Mexican. Also, real quick, another fun fact about the 1997 movie, Selma Hayek was actually supposed to be the original Selena, and they actually offered her the job, but she was doing Frida. I didn't see it. But after that, over 20,000 women auditioned to play the role. As we all know, J-Lo got the role and became the highest paid Latina in Hollywood history by getting $1 million to play this role. But she's Puerto Rican. How could she possibly? I don't even know. Anyway, with this current Selena, I don't think she's trying to do either of those things. She doesn't want to replace Selena, and she doesn't want to replace J-Lo. And before y'all start protesting, J-Lo already gave her that cosign, so we are good to go. Christian Serrano's in this movie as Selena is like impossible to not like, which I think is a setup for part 2 when Netflix just rips our hearts out of our chest brutally and painfully. Anyway, I would have never guessed that the homie from The Walking Dead could play Selena, but now I can't unsee it. But y'all gotta take my word for it. See? It's legit. The show also does a really good job showing the sibling bond through the band. A lot of the times with these movies, you're just waiting for the egos to kick in, someone wants to leave the group, go solo, or the whole thing just implodes. You don't really get that here. You just get a very relatable family with all the kind of sibling jokes and interactions you would expect from a normal family. Last positive I'll touch on is the throwback feel. You can tell they made a conscious effort with the costumes and even with some retro video effects to make it feel like the 80s and 90s. I can dig that. Also, was like Target a sponsor of this thing? Like, you see it pop up so randomly. I didn't even know Target was popping like that back then. Anyway, the show also has a very light tone throughout, almost like it could have been a Lifetime series. So I'm very interested to see how they handle, you know, the murder. Another Jackson 5 comparison is that this series reminds me of the Jackson 5 and American Dream story. I don't know if you guys have seen that. If you haven't, just turn this video off and go watch it. It is 18 hours, so just clear your schedule. But the point is, it's like this, it's super long and it's a lot to unpack, so you kind of need these parts broken up. And I would imagine like if the Jackson 5 movie came out in 2020, it would be just like a series on Netflix like this, broken up like how this is. But to my point, it has that very same light tone in the beginning, but then towards the end gets into some heavier matter. So maybe that's how this looks for part 2. But here in part 1, the only drama we get is that Selena's dad doesn't want her dating Chris Perez, who joined the band as the guitarist, which we all know becomes her husband. It's almost like too perfect. Like, I can't believe that a family would get along this well, cramped together on a raggedy bus traveling all over the country. But maybe that's what you get when you have the actual family members being producers on the show. Because on the one hand, you know you're getting that official family sign-off. But on the other hand, are they gonna make sure that any family drama doesn't get out, that doesn't look good on TV? Because when you watch this family seems like perfect. Does that mean that the perfect family doesn't exist? I guess. But some people on the internet land have accused some of the family members of exploiting Selena's name for money. Tate, what are you talking about? Well, I mean, it's 2020, so we gotta have some scandal. Let's get into it. All right, so boom. Back in 1997, when the original J-Lo movie came out, Selena's dad made a deal with the dude who made that movie and said that he had the rights to her story, period. Well, it's not that dude who made this Netflix series, so he literally just sued the whole family and Netflix for $1 million. But wait, that's not the crazy part. A few years ago, Chris Perez, who was Selena's actual husband, wrote a book called To Selena with Love, and he wanted to make a TV series about the relationship. Aww. But that never happened, because Selena's dad surely did sue Chris for even trying to make it happen. So what is it, my man? Do you want to keep your daughter's legacy alive, or do you only want to do it when you're in line to make a profit? Chris Perez recently went on Instagram and posted a picture of the actor that's playing him in this new series. And he was basically like, I guess this is the guy that's playing me in this new series. Would have been cool to meet this dude. Or like, read the script. What are we doing here? Why y'all still icing out my man Chris? It's not right. Put it like this. Selena died in March of 1995. The Selena movie was announced in freaking August of 95. Is it fishy? I don't know the answer to that, but it's messy, so I'm here for it. It's kind of tough giving this a rating knowing that it's only halfway done, but I'm gonna try. I think I'm gonna give part 1 3.5 stars. There's a lot riding on that part 2. It could bring the overall value up to about a 4.6, or it could bring it crashing down to a 2.3. Only time will tell. All jokes aside, I think it's awesome that a new generation gets to learn about Selena. That original J-Lo movie came out over 20 years ago. These kids don't know about how J-Lo put her foot in that role. The only Selena they know is Selena Gomez, who was literally named after Selena. Now they get this, and I think it's necessary. As the first Latin artist to hit the top of the Billboard 200, along with the countless other awards she got and barriers she broke for women in this male-dominated genre, this is a very welcome series in 2020. You all can check it out when it comes to Netflix starting on December 4th. As always, thanks for checking out Tate's Take. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that like and that subscribe, because after part 2, we're doing a deeper dive. Yes, right, Nikhil, I said it. I'm spilling all the tea. I don't know, I dug myself into a rabbit hole that I don't know how to get out of, so I got some things to talk about. In the comments, let me know if y'all plan to check out the series. Thanks for the time, y'all. Peace.